Well, g'day. My name's Chris Walker, and today I'd love to talk to you about the leader's mindset. I'll make it really short, I'll make it really tight, and I'll try to be as accurate as I can in what I say. There are 5 laws of nature, universal laws of nature, in fact. If we contradict those laws, we become what's called free-willed. Now, you may have heard or you may not have heard that when we were created on this earth, we were given some fixtures, some fixed things. We've got to eat, we've got to breathe, we need to walk, we need to exercise. There were some things that were given to human beings that are fixed. But what we were given is a real trick. And another thing we were given is free will. And it's not the whale, the movie about the whale, Free Willy. It's free will. And free will means we can think any way we want. We can choose our religions, we can eat vegetarian, we can be happy, we can be sad, we can be in love, not in love, we can be angry, we can be miserable, and last but not least, we can lead. And that leadership mind isn't necessarily a broad spectrum of thought. It's actually quite a tight, neat bundle of process that helps us create an environment where people will follow what we lead. And I'd like to go through that today and most importantly, I think, given the laws of nature and given the structure of the laws of nature, help you identify when you're off or in leadership teaching, leadership mindset. So let's give it a try. The first mindset that you come across most often is the spaghetti mind. Now, that spaghetti mind is often called multitasking, and when it's called multitasking, that's cool. But when it's not multitasking, the spaghetti mind goes wherever the noise takes it. It's the old story, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And that mind will answer the phone, do an email, grab a cup of coffee, or speaking of which, grab a cup of coffee. It will answer the door, it will look at the birds out the window, it will think, what could I be doing now? It will wish it was in the past, it will wish the job was over, it's in the future. So spaghetti mind goes all over the ship, and that's the equivalent to a car with the brick on the accelerator, nobody behind the steering wheel, and the car just goes wherever the earth and the ground takes it. This is not necessarily bad. It's a beautiful thing when you talk about creativity. It's a beautiful thing when you talk about art. It's an amazing thing when you talk about music. But when it comes to leadership, it may not be the mind that people want to follow. And that's a really important distinction. We're not being critical of different mindsets. We're saying when it comes to work, when it comes to business, when it comes to evolving yourself to a higher place in the business world, the spaghetti mind is not a great friend. The next one is the fixed mindset. This is the one you come across most often. And this person believes that they've learnt something. They learnt it about 20 years ago and they've applied it ever since. And it's that old quote that says, I've really only had 1 year experience, but I've applied it 20 times rather than 20 years experience. Now, this fixed mind goes around and around and around. And what it says, if I do this, this result will happen. If I pay people more, they will do more. If I smile at people, they will smile and like me. If I give them promotions, people will value me. If I give them team meetings, or I take them on a retreat, or I give them a Christmas bonus, that will result in productivity gains. The problem with a fixed mindset, it doesn't evolve with the generations. The new generations do not get motivated by the same things the old generations get motivated by. And so the fixed mind really stays stuck in the past. It stays stuck on old paradigms. Let's say, for example, something that works in the US and it might work in the Midwest in the US. If you take it to California or to New York, you might find that those fixed things that really worked well in some places don't work in others. Or if you bring it to Australia, for goodness sake, or across to New Zealand, or up to Singapore, over to China, down through Tibet, into Nepal, you can't be fixed-minded and say, this is the process I've learnt that causes people to follow me as a leader, when in fact people change and cultures change and companies change and environments change. So the fixed mindset has a bit of a problem. The fixed mindset is banging its head on the brick wall saying, I know this works, I know this works, something must be wrong with the crowd because my play is perfect, and they just don't get it. The flexible mindset's a beauty. It comes from the new age. Most of the generation that are currently under 25 years old have this flexible mindset, which is taught to them by people of my generation to say, everything that happens to you, you cause. Now, that's a great yogi philosophy. It empowers people. It's very powerful to heal up wounds, and it makes sure people don't carry anger and blame for the rest of their lives like my generation has or my father's generation has. So this is the flexible mindset is being taught universally. Oprah Winfrey and the gang promote this. And the reason that it's so healthy is because it takes blame away from other people. It puts responsibility for personal and global change right back into the hands of the individual. And I think for that, it's fantastic. The problem with it is it leads to gross insecurity, because we are responsible for everything, and everything that happens we could have changed, and therefore we're an idiot because how come I'm sick? How come I've got cancer? Not only do I have a cancer, now I'm responsible for causing it, so I'm stupid as well. So quite often the flexible mindset goes too far, and we end up in like a mouse in a wheel going round and round and round. Remembering this, the minute we say that we can change ourselves, we set up a habit. And that habit is, wherever I get to, I'm not finished. So I'm never perfect. I've always got change. I'll always need to fix something. And so I'm never in a good place. And so the flexible mindset creates continuous and uncompromised dissatisfaction, no matter how much we take a person into the state of nirvana. When they wake up, they say, well, it could have been longer. The leader's mindset only has two propositions. One, where are we going? What's the vision? What's the big picture? Two, process. How are we going to get there? Let's step back from things with looking at why a vision for a leader is really important. The leader will ask, in solving a problem, the leader will ask, what's the big picture? Where are we going long term? How does this current problem really impact the vision, or does it at all? And let's solve the problem with the long-term aim in mind of achieving our vision. So problems are only things that interrupt the vision. And the leader's discernment is to step away from the emotion and the interpersonal conflicts that may occur and step back and say, is this really important? That's really important. The second part of the leader's mindset is to step back in. Now, mission is process. And you want to be right on target in process. When solving a problem, the questions might be asked. Does this issue improve or negate the process we've developed for this company, this organization? Is the process right? Now, problems come when process fails. So 99% of the time, problems are evidence that the process needs to be modified. How you interact, what people are doing, how much they're doing, when they're doing it, all of the more day-to-day cultural value sets, these things need to be addressed, because problems, stress reveals that people below are coming up against resistance above, and stress is usually a company capped by leadership that's stuck. So quite often, problems might be solved and help the vision grow, but most often, more often than not, they reveal that process is stuck, process needs to be modified. Therefore, problems are a friend. So let's look at it again. The leader's mindset, VIP. What's your personal vision statement? What's your career vision statement? What's the company vision statement? Are they all three connected? It's very important for the leader's mind to have peace on those three topics, connecting personal, career, and company visions. And when it comes to process, you need to ask yourself, do you have a process for your year ahead? Do you know what you're going to do each day? Do you know what you're going to do each week? You know what you're going to do each month? Do you know where you're going? Do you have a career process? Where would you like to be at the end of this year? And is that process in your hands, and are you taking responsibility for that on a daily basis? Daily action is process. And finally, what's your company process? What's it expecting of you? What outcomes? What daily interactions is the company really expect? And are you going to the point of achieving those things, or are you going overboard, too much process, or not enough? So I think those two things begin the process of understanding the leader's mindset. But let's just take it a little bit further. Let's design our personal process. There are 4 steps. Firstly, learn to want what you've got. Secondly, create a daily routine that will step you towards where you want to be. Thirdly, benchmark your goals, have red flags, know where you're going and whether you're on track. In other words, feedback. And finally, be clear on your vision. And the vision is not only for this year, your vision is a lifelong aim. Many people write their vision down, but really what they're saying is, how do I make other people in my life happy? And to tell you the truth, it's one of the greatest dysfunctions a human being can start doing, is trying to make other people happy by compromising their vision. Let's look at this. The egg, the caterpillar, the chrysalis, the butterfly. And we can talk about this in terms of red flags. If you're always looking at the future, wishing you were there, you'll miss the future. You'll miss the egg. You'll miss the opportunity to celebrate where you are. If you are doing the wrong thing on a daily basis, in other words, being emotional, trying to please people who don't need to be pleased, trying to live out expectations that don't marry with the laws of nature. And this is a huge piece of self-awareness that you can take on board from nature. Chrysalis means if your targets are set by pleasing others, your outcome will please others but piss you off big time. And finally, the butterfly. Your daily actions and your goals add up to your life. And the question's going to be, when you're lying there on your deathbed, whether you take that final gasp and say, oh shit, I've still got petrol in the tank, but I've got no time to use it. None of us want to go that way. So I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to talk more in detail about the 4 levels of developing your own process. Now we can apply this to your career, your life, or your business. This moment in time you're living right now is priceless. You'll never have it again. And as you age, you value this moment more and more. When a friend dies, or a disaster like the 9/11 collapse with terrorism, or a bushfire comes to destroy innocent lives, you realize that what you're looking to get and what you've already got, what you've already got is so priceless and precious that you need to value it more. So we really don't have to have calamities, disasters, and humbling circumstances bring us to the realization on a daily basis that we need to appreciate what we've got. Want what you've got. Don't want what you haven't got, in order to create the Zen of leadership, inspiration. The second part, the caterpillar. You can't give what you haven't got. On a daily basis, you are being asked to give yourself, give of yourself, to coach people, to help people, to guide people, to manage product, to manage business, to manage lives, to manage your children, to dedicate. But if you start doing that in substitute, in other words, living vicariously through others and not giving to yourself first, you will end up with an empty tank. The metaphor is used over and over again that on an aeroplane, when an oxygen mask drops out of the plane and you have a child beside you, they say, put yours on first, because you're no bloody use to anybody if you faint. So this is a really important awareness to say in life, look after yourself. You can't give what you haven't got. And if you want to inspire your team, be inspired. If you want to have a long life, do the things that will make you have a long life. Don't exist in a day of stress. There are so many options in life, but really, are there? We ask people in a vision quest when we take them away, or I take clients that I coach to sit down and write their vision. And many people will scribble out a vision, and I'll say, why did you say that? And the answer will be, well, because of my husband, or because of my wife, and because of my children, because of this is what I want to do. And I say, that's not a vision. That's your momentum. That's the existence of your present life. I'm asking an individual to be self. We aren't married to other people soul to soul. We're married to other people body to body, mind to mind. But at a soul level, at an individual vision, inspiration and purpose level, we are individuals. We're born alone, we die alone. We live this vision, inspiration, purpose. And if it's strong enough, we magnetize people to us. If it's weak, we start trying to please everybody. So in the Chrysalis of life, it's really, really important for you and for me and everybody to be an individual, to break codependence, to break cooperation, to break collusions with our significant other or those we're in partnership with at work, and say, what am I doing? What am I creating? And then say, how can I do it with my family, with my friends, with my colleagues? Last but not least, if you look on the internet, you want to see a sob story, you look at videos that are made of really, really, really old people, 90s, 100-year-old, and they say, tell us about living a long, happy life. And there will be lots of advice, drink vodka, have a block of Cadbury's before you go to bed, and all these things. But there will be a generic statement that people will say with 20/20 hindsight, have no regret. Now, to have no regret means to know what it is you will regret. To have no regret means not to go off on sidetracks, not to waste time on things that aren't important, to prioritize what you'd love to create in your life. But most importantly, it's to be aware that deep down in your heart and your soul, there is a burning desire to leave an impact on this earth greater than yourself. Now, that can't be your children, because they're not yours. It can't be your spouse, because they're not yours. It can only be the thing you contribute to the broader world. And to that we say, what is your purpose in life? What is that going to look like? And how are you going to leave a footprint on this beautiful earth that makes the place better for your being here? So the leader's mindset goes like this. What's my vision and my purpose? What's my mission? In other words, my process. What's my inspiration? Do I truly know my daily process to give myself respect? Do I welcome problems? Because problems teach you to improve your process. Can I adapt but never compromise? Can I help others but remember to help myself first? And ultimately, the measure of my life is going to be the contribution beyond my life. This is Chris. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.